welcome to the Eclectic Collection. Today is episode 125. It's time for a magical update. So, yes, I go to the mouse every year, and I generally talk a little bit about the mouse because, well, it's the most magical place on earth. And things are changing over at Mouse World. I can't speak to Mouse Land, but I can speak to Mouse World. And I thought that if you haven't been in a while, a long time, or ever, it might be good to know what's going on, just for fun. And if nothing else, maybe some of these new things will give you reason to want to go, or possibly give you pause to want to go, aside from the fact that it's wildly expensive and completely insane with heat and climate, ticket options, crowds, etc. But there are ways to mitigate that, and if you ever go back to Inexpensive Disney, which is an episode from quite a while back, I can show you some tips and tricks on how to do that. So feel free to listen to that one, and it'll definitely help you save a lot of money because that's the way I roll. Of course, you also have to be able to resist buying Mickey bars for no reason and $15 balloons in the middle of the street just because they look cool. I'm not much of a merch purchaser, but if you have little kids with you, it could be tough. Um, but as far as what's going on now, I'm just going to kind of break it down for you park by park. And if you know anything about Disney, then you know there are 4 parks, and each has its own theme. And we're going to start with what I find to be the smallest, even though it's actually the largest land print. It's got the smallest amount of stuff to do. Um, Animal Kingdom. So Animal Kingdom, and I have to say it's my least favorite park. I do enjoy it a bit. It is not, in my opinion, a full day park. I know it's like a hot take. A lot of people get mad about that, but for me, no. I like animals, but there's a lot of stuff that I would just never do there, and it depends on you. So it might be in your wheelhouse. It's certainly not in mine. But going to it and seeing it, there only ever were 7 rides at that park, and then they had the big attraction as far as going on the safari, and you could go to see a bunch of live animals, which was cool. It's about a half-hour experience that you drive through with a guide, and it's very neat. So that park closes the earliest because the animals have to go to bed, and generally even late for them is like 7 or 8 o'clock. And you rarely see Animal Kingdom open past 7 or 8, and during the wintertime it's generally 5. But you can completely get done everything there. Now these days I wouldn't recommend going. I just wouldn't because it's under such construction that of the 7 rides that there were, I don't think even 3 are in operation. So Everest is still a great coaster with the Yeti that you go backwards on. You don't go upside down. People think you do, but you don't. That's still happening, and you can still go to the safari, and they still have the rapids. There's like a fall. They put you in a rapid situation. You get very wet with that. Kilimanjaro Falls, I believe, and that's one of the ones I've never done, but they're still in operation. And everything's fine. They have taken A Bug's Life, which I thought was a really cute, like 4D kind of screen with interactive seats, and they've taken that away, and they're going to turn that into a Zootopia thing. It's going to be a ride. I don't know what it is. It's near the Tree of Life, and it is probably one of the first things that you would hit when you walk in the park. So it's going to become a Zootopia themed attraction. I don't know what, but it is no longer going to be A Bug's Life. So if you're into Zootopia, that's for you. Something else that's always there and was one of the newer things in like 2016, 2017 was the Pandora. They have the Navi River ride, and they also have the Rite of Passage, or Flight of Passage. Sorry, Rite of Passage. They have the Flight of Passage ride. It's like a bike. It was the first bike style ride that they had. Not built for everybody, I can tell you that. And a lot of people have a hard time getting into it. So those are still there and very, very much the wait list still. So they're still happening to kind of round out of the 7 that were existent. And the other thing that they have done is completely demolished Dino Land. So they took away everything dinosaur. They got rid of they had like a Primeval Worlds gone that's been gone for a while, and they had basically Triceratops Spin was Dumbo but with dinosaurs. That's gone, and next to it was Dinosaur, the ride where you go find an iguanodon with Dr. Grant Seeker. It was pretty cool. I like it. Rough ride. I enjoy it, but it's a rough ride. So if you have back issues or anything, you definitely don't want to go on it. Pregnant women should absolutely not go on it. And I would say elderly, you just kind of have to know yourself because it does bounce you around quite a bit. However, that is now going to be transformed. They're keeping the ride and the ride system and mechanics, but they're going to transform it into an Indiana Jones themed ride, which I hear mirrors the West Coast. So same ride vehicle and same story over there, but it's supposed to kind of give um, archaeological South American vibe. And then outside, where the rest of the dino stuff was, they're going to build a casita from Encanto. So they're going to have like an actual house. I don't know what they're doing. It's supposed to be an attraction that incorporates that Colombian vibe that you're in the South America. Could be a little bit of like rainforest. I don't know what they're doing. And I heard that they're also doing a bit of something with Coco and Miguel. So I don't know if it's going to be you're kind of bleeding into that like South Tex-Mex kind of thing into South America, and then like going on the adventure with Indy. They're trying to sort of blend it as a South American rainforest, different locale. So it has nothing to do with dinosaurs anymore, and it'd be more along that adventure kind of run. So Casita should be there. I don't know if they're actually building a house. There's some attraction with that, supposedly some attraction with Coco, and the switch over to Indy. So that pretty much takes care of Animal Kingdom, and it is the most construction. So the go away green walls have been put up, and you really can't see a whole lot. So if you go now, especially because a lot of that has been shut down or is being renovated or whatever, it's probably going to be late 26 before anything comes up and running and is completely swapped out. They rarely make deadline, and if they do, it's later, never sooner. So that's just one thing I can tell you about Disney. That's pretty consistent. So I would say if you want to go to Animal Kingdom, not right now. Let's just skip it. What they're doing to encourage people to go, though, it's pretty slick. They're doing this like flat fee, $89 a day. It ends up being like 200 some dollars, where you get one park a day, which is a good and much less expensive. So it's worth it if you got the time to go over and maybe do like pool day or go back to your resort after you've knocked out Animal Kingdom. But they're giving you Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Animal Kingdom. They don't give you Magic Kingdom, but you get one ticket per day. So that's something you could look at right now if you want to take a look over there. So that's that. Moving on to Epcot. Test Track is back up. It was down, and it is the third renovation that they've done. Chevy still supports it. It is very cool. You can see stuff on YouTube from all different people. I personally like to follow Mammoth Club with Molly and allairs.net, but you can take a look at them, and they'll show you point of view from the ride. Is pretty cool. That's back up. There is now a Home Moana attraction. It's a walkthrough where you can choose to get wet or not get wet. It's all sorts of things involving water and Moana, and they are they put up a cool little sculpture of Walt sitting on a bench, sort of looking out, like as long as there's Imagineers, like this place will never be done. So it's kind of neat. You can go take pictures with Walt and bronze. They are switching a few, just putting out more restaurants and options and things, and lots of stuff happening in Communicore, and festivals are still happening. So they were going to do a renovation, completely overhaul. Now I think it's just an update inside Spaceship Earth, which is the ball inside the big golf ball, if you will, when you get there. I love that ride, and I think they're just going to refurbish. It was supposed to be a complete overhaul. I don't believe that's happening anymore. And for the most part, I think things are pretty back to normal. Guardians of the Galaxy was new a few years ago. If you haven't gotten into there, so that's worth going to see. It's a normal ride now. You don't have to have special tickets or anything for it, or any kind of weird queue if you're not into that. And I'm pretty sure that's kind of all that's going on at Epcot. I mean, it's constantly evolving, but for the most part, they've had their upgrade. They fixed Test Track, and they're pretty much, I think, now going to be left alone because the concentrations are really big over at Hollywood and Magic Kingdom. So talk about Hollywood next. Hollywood Studios is actually the smallest park footprint, but there's a lot of bangers in that. There's probably 16 or 17 rides now, and they continue to expand. So they're going to close down the Star Wars Launch Bay, which was in the back by Animation Courtyard, and there was a Disney Kids Junior dance party that was really geared for little kids, and parents could get in some air conditioning and sit on a carpet in the back. And they are taking that away, and that space is going to go back to being Animator's Court, where you could actually go in. And if you're artistically inclined, kids, adults, whatever, you could go in. They teach you like how to say they pick Mickey or Simba, or they pick a character, and they teach you how to actually animate and draw something. And you could do that again in the air condition if you're good at that. They reopened The Little Mermaid, which was closed for a while. It's a little different than the show it was before, but it's live action characters along with the animation in the background with a lot of effects. Practical effects, and some animatronics as well. So it's a cool hybrid show that's back open that was there, and they got their space back. Elio is a new movie coming out that is in the screening, like 7-10 minute kind of preview in the walkthrough attraction with Walt. That's like one man's dream. It's definitely worth visiting. I love it for the historical values. If you like Walt, it's definitely worth looking at. It's also funny to watch them take the cigarette out of Walt's hand. He smoked like crazy, and he's always got two fingers together. So that's why they always point with two fingers in Disneyland. Fun fact, because he had a cigarette in his hands all the time, and they didn't want little kids to know he smoked. So they went back and photoshopped out all the cigarettes, but he's always like pointing with two fingers. So that's why all the people either use a Mickey hand or they point with two fingers in Disney. Fun facts for you. You'll be great at your next cocktail party. The other thing they're doing, or they've done, Lightning McQueen used to be behind Rock and Roller Coaster. That's gone, and now there's a little villains show. It's pretty neat. It's like Hades from Hercules, and Ursula comes in, and Jafar. It's pretty neat. So it's again live action animatronic, and it's maybe about half an hour. It's worth seeing. You don't even know anything's back there because it's beyond Rock and Roller Coaster. No longer sponsored by Haynes. Rock and Roller Coaster. So that's going to remain open. It just went through a refurb. But so sad. Aerosmith's not going to be attached to it anymore. And hey, they're in their 80s. God bless them. I love those guys. I think it's great that they're probably from 25 years ago when you see the pre-show. But the last rendition of that, the way it was, I think it went down or is going down soon. So what they're going to do is keep the ride. Still go 0 to 60 from launch, and it's still the only coaster in Disney to go that fast and go upside down 3 times. It has an inversion. I didn't even know it was upside down. That's how quick it happened. It's a 90-second ride, and it had all the great music in it from Aerosmith. So what they're doing now is going to make the Muppets be part of that. So it's going to be instead of, well, it could still be called Rock and Roller Coaster, but it's not sponsoring Aerosmith or featuring Aerosmith. It's going to be featuring the Muppets. So the Muppets band is going to be the characters, and it's going to re-theme, but they're going to have a nod to Aerosmith obviously in it. So that means, okay, well, what happened over in the Muppets Plaza? Well, womp womp. They took away the Muppet Show that has been there forever, and I think at some point, somewhere, it's going to land. We don't know where. I have no more information, but it's supposed to go somewhere. However, it's not readily available anymore. The last showing of it had a lot of people come in, actually, a lot of famous people. I believe Jim Henson's son was there. It was like quite the thing. So they stopped it, walled it off, go away green, and they took away the little pizza place, Rizzo's Pizza, and Mama Melrose was a good little tiny restaurant that was affordable back there. That whole courtyard has been shut down. That area is going to be transferred into a Monsters, Inc. Theme. There's going to be 2 rides, or 2 attractions, I should say, that are Monsters. I think it's like Monsters University Quad, like it's supposed to be like the courtyard, and it's Monsters University base. So that's going to take over. And that's right on your way into Galaxy's Edge. So everything Star Wars related is still going. They've lightened up the rules in Star Wars. So now it is normal for you to see Chewbacca, and you might see, of course, you'll see stormtroopers, and you're going to see Rey and whatever. But people were just getting annoyed at the entire thing that, okay, yeah, it's great, it's Batuu, but you might see Boba Fett now. You might see the Mandalorian now. They kind of realized people were like, hello, we want to see who we like. So I don't think you're necessarily going to see Luke Skywalker, but you could see Vader, walking around Batuu, which just shouldn't be according to timelines, but you're going to see more characters, and they do stop, and you see Kylo Ren a lot. And they say bright suns when you go in there, so they referred to the scooter as a land speeder. I thought that was pretty funny. So they do that there, and they're going to be fine, but they're kind of, like I said, opening up a little bit, and that will probably take some of the overflow. Everything going on in Toy Story Land is still fine, and they're basically just they're going to put the hat back. The magic hat is going to go back in Animation Court when they open up the animators studio again, and utilize that space a little better. So what was the launch bay? And if you want to go see any of the archived stuff of Star Wars, you should do it soon, because that's going to go away very soon. So that's the big changes happening in Hollywood. And then best for last, because probably the most, Magic Kingdom. So Magic Kingdom is going to see a massive overhaul that it hasn't seen in years. It is completely insane, because people keep talking about them building a 5th park. That's total rumor at this point, and if they make the expansion that they're talking about here first, I think you're very, very many years out from a 5th park. If they do, it's going to be in response to Epic Universe opening from Universal, which happened this past May. I have not been. I've seen pictures. Thematically, it is very impressive as far as like Mario and the whole idea of everything with Harry Potter, and then have the whole Train Your Dragon. I mean, everything they did was very detailed. So clearly, they're rivaling Disney. The only bummer about them, and it's not different because you do it at Disney, but because you got a little spoiled that Islands of Adventure was to your left and Universal was to your right, and then you had Volcano Bay shoved right in there, and all the Portofino and Hard Rock and Lowe's Hotel were all there in their little lagoon. That was their space. So they have space, but it was down the street. So in order to build Epic Universe, which is Epic, it's much bigger. That land print is even larger than the other two parks put together. They had to go down the street, and like I think I drive not far from where the new train and the Brightline are, and they can get a lot of train action from there. You can, which you can't do at Disney anymore. So it's in a larger space, but it's in a different space. So if you're going to drive there, you have to actively drive to that parking lot, and it's not like you're going to be able to run over to Universal on the same day. It's not going to happen. I mean, you could do it, but you have to get in a car and drive somewhere else. So I haven't been there. I guess I'll do that later on, but probably be next year for me. But what they're doing in Magic Kingdom is epic. You haven't seen anything like it in a while. I'm a little sad about a lot of it. The Liberty Bell was a gigantic paddle boat that would park in Liberty Square, which, for those of you that don't know, was the sort of the colonial place. It was where Hall of Presidents is. It's still there. Liberty Tree Tavern, and then down the road in it is Haunted Mansion. That's like where that whole colonial look of things is. And the boat sat in the rivers of America, and you could get on it and take a little 20-minute drive around the entire river. Well, in doing so, you would see Tom Sawyer Island, and there used to be rafts that went across to go see that, and there were caves that you could explore and go through, and it was just a nice little ride. And you had Tom Sawyer Island going through it. You would pass, like, come around the other side and pass Haunted Mansion and come up on the side. There was a little narration, and there were some just different things, animals and things, all animatronic throughout the ride. Well, that's all gone. They're draining that river. I believe it's already started, and the go away green walls are up. They took the boat. Now I'm sure the boat will be repurposed elsewhere, but they drained the river. They're taking away Tom Sawyer Island. There's a rumor that they might keep a little portion of it, and so it's not going to be rafts anymore. But it didn't run a lot. It was probably like a 10 to 7 thing throughout the day if weather was okay. So it didn't run 100%. But a lot of people didn't even know it was there. But they may keep a portion of it, or the caves. They took little sections of it to put in an archive, but that's all going to go. And they're going to put a Cars theme thing. And Mater, I think it's similar to Radiator Springs, but not quite in Disneyland. So it's not that ride, but it's something like that. So that's going to go in there, and that dirt is going to get used to actually be more of like a track. That's big, and that takes up a lot of space. So that's sort of the main in the guts of Disney. Now they just, if you don't know, like Tron got opened up about a year ago, so that's still happening in Tomorrowland. That was the biggest addition they had in Tomorrowland. Lilo and Stitch got shut down a while ago, and it was just sort of a character meet and greet, but that space is empty, and they could put a ride in there, which they're talking about a few different things. Obviously, it would be like, I'll say technological or Tomorrowland based. I don't know what IP they're going to do. There was talk of Incredibles, but I don't know that that's going to happen. Buzz Lightyear is being shut down for renovation and a massive overhaul. They're keeping the ride, but it's going to be new, better little toy guns to be able to aim at the Zurg targets and all that. It has never been overhauled, so it needs to be. So that's getting an overhaul. And then the other side of the park, sort of beyond what is Frontierland, that got a little bit of a shake-up last year. So Splash Mountain is technically no more. The ride exists as it did. However, it's still part dark ride and at the Splash, but now it's like Tiana's Bayou, so they kind of turned it into like the restaurant. And truthfully, I've never watched Princess and the Frog, so I don't know the story about it, at least her story, but it's supposed to be like a restaurant, and it's all the characters. So there's a lot of like gators, and it's very like southern Louisiana. They took away that Song of the South vibe from Uncle Remus, and they put the Tiana storyline in there. So there's other characters, the crocodiles in there, and all those guys. You might not see. I think you'll see like Bear, Foxborough, Bear, Rabbit floating around, but you just kind of have to know who they are, or there might be like a quick sign. But there's a lot more characters. Same splash, still gonna get wet. Same dark ride, very cool. It's a pretty long ride. I think it's about 22 minutes, which is cool. More bang for your buck. But that's already been implemented and is open. And then to the right of that was Thunder Mountain. Now that's being renovated. And fun fact about Thunder Mountain, true story too. Many doctors have said if you have a kidney stone, you should ride Thunder Mountain. More people have passed kidney stones, not kidding, on Thunder Mountain because it shakes you left and right. It's not an upside down coaster. It's not a terribly fast coaster, but it's really rumbly. And I think that's kind of why they're shutting it down too, is to renovate the track and just make sure everything's safe and updated. It is going to stay. It's not going away. But to this day, it's still open now, but it's going to close soon for renovations. If you have a kidney stone or a kidney issue, drink a lot of lemonade and go on Thunder Mountain because that will definitely get rid of it for you. People have, gone on countless times and reported that it's gone away completely and they're pain free. So what's funny about that is after they renovate that, it's kind of a dead end after that. Now there's a big wall, and what most people don't know is that all the parade stuff is behind that big wall at the end of Frontierland, which is why a lot of the parades always start in Frontierland, come out there, go to the hub, and then go down Main Street. Everybody goes to Main Street. But if you really want to catch parades without a lot of the fuss, go to Frontierland. You get a way bigger, better space without fighting people, and most people don't even know that it starts there. Plus, you'll catch everything as it's coming out, and then as they go ahead in front of you, you can run around and do rides while everybody's busy in the street watching the parades. There is a huge space beyond there that they are going to raise for villains. They've never had a villains land, and within the spoken hub of Disney and the Magic Kingdom, they're now going to have a villains land beyond. I don't know what villains are involved. I don't know. There's just rides, lots of them. It's a big undertaking. They've started excavations. It is nowhere near ready. It'll probably be at least 2 or 3 years before anything opens back there. But that is the largest undertaking of building a whole new land that they have done in years, not just like popping in and out of a ride. Last time they did that, it was a big overhaul with Avatar, or they had the big overhaul with Galaxy's Edge, and it's been years. So this is a big thing. Now, whether or not they do that and then they decide on a Park 5, that's something different, but I wouldn't speculate on that just yet. Don't waste your breath. You've got time. But that is happening, and it's going to happen, pretty soon with the excavation. It's just going to take a while. I do know that the villains, which is, like I said, the largest undertaking, will take quite a bit to do. And then in and around other little things, like touches, I'll say, the nighttime show is different. We used to have the Main Street Electrical Parade, which I loved, and now that's on the West Coast. So now there's this new like fantasy parade at night with lots of lights, and in addition to fireworks. And in the summer, very often they do 2 times for fireworks, which is cool. So that's a new parade, and again, you can catch all the stuff on YouTube if you want to look at it. But of course, in person is better. And what did Disney do? Well, they beefed up their packages where you could go and spend even more money to go on top of one of the rides or in a restaurant and see it without having to stand in line for 2 hours to get your spot, which I refuse to do. So I'm all for it. And by the way, if you really want to see it, I mean, aside from like in the parking lot or people's apartments, because you can see fireworks in general, you might miss some of the projections down the street if you don't look at it dead on. But I got to tell you, if you go back by like Small World or the Carousel or Peter Pan, you can see all the fireworks just fine, and really very few people are standing back there. You might get some ashes on your head, I'm not going to lie, but you might miss a couple side ones, but you're going to see the majority of the show without all the grief. And then you can still go on rides. That's what I do, because I run for the rides when people are busy watching the fireworks, especially during the first one, because the last one's always the time to watch. And then there's always a good hour that the park is open afterwards. And you're just a fool if you try and run out the door when fireworks end. Honestly, you're just waiting for trouble. Take a walk, get some ice cream, appreciate something, try and get on the last ride. If it is closed, go into the Emporium, buy something. B, take your pictures, go get, whatever. It's always open like another hour. And even if the rides are shut down, remember they have to let you on a ride at least with 1 minute left in the park day. And they will stay there until all those people have been accommodated. Maybe make a late night reservation at Be Our Guest or something inside for, like 9:30 or 10 o'clock, right when it closes. And then they'll feed you and then you can come out. That's kind of wild when you come out and there's nobody in the park anymore and you have transportation home. And they won't abandon you. They'll make sure that the riverboats or the monorails back and forth. They always run at least an hour or two, and the riverboats are back and forth. So that's what's going on. And your Disney update, I haven't done one in quite a while, but I felt like there was enough to talk about. And like I said, if you've not been, then that's what you got to look forward to. And if you do go right now, I would just skip Animal Kingdom. Of course, there's always stuff over in Disney Springs, and all of the different resorts have things going on. Polynesian's pretty much well done at this point, as is Grand Floridian. There's still some construction under Grand Floridian, but I think the Poly's finished, and for the most part, there's a couple things in Contemporary were already updated to like a Moana and an Incredibles theme, but since I refuse to spend $750 a night on a room, I can't really speak to that. I just go make a reservation, have dinner at the place, get to see it, and then I leave. And if there's anything, which you're allowed to do, by the way, you're allowed to go on property, any property, whether you're staying there or not. I mean, you can't just jump in the pool, but you can go do any of the things on those properties. If you want to go to, they have a campfire, they have like a poolside movie, or if they have a special event or a lounge or something that you like that's specific to that, or a show, you're allowed to go do that. You can purchase tickets to that, or some things are free. There's free events, and you could just go tell them you're there for that, and then you leave at the end of the night. So that is something a lot of people don't know. The word free and Disney don't go together often, but there are quite a few things there that are pretty inexpensive, like $10-15 that you can do, or free, that are in the resorts. Pretty much every resort has its shtick, and I know in Disney Springs there's like, I love Coca-Cola, so World of Coke, there's like a top bar on the third floor. It's an outdoor bar for trying all the Cokes, similar to what you have at Club Cool and Epcot, but there's even more there. And it's like $12 or $14 for 20 some drinks or floats that you can get, and the bear's there too if you want to take pictures with the Cokie Bear. So I of course go and do that, but that's something else that's not terribly expensive that you could do. Anyway, I hope you've gotten some info out of this, and it's useful if you are planning a vacation or you just want to reminisce or think about back when I went. And as things unfold, I will let you know, because that's one thing that I try to do at least once a year, is visit the most magical place on earth and forget about reality, because that's just overrated. If you like what you heard, then check out the eclecticcollectionpodcast.com or follow us on your preferred platform. I'm Terry Tenaglia. Thanks for listening.